Hi guys, Mr. Mackey here. Now yesterday we were multiplying and dividing decimals and I set you a challenge where I bought 4 books for a total of £6.30. And from that I wanted to know how much 1 book costs and how much 7 books cost. Now to figure out how much 1 book costs, we need to divide £6.30 by 4. Now, do you remember the trick I told you of how to get rid of this decimal? We are going to times both of them by 10. The reason why is because in division, we don't need to remind ourselves to put the decimal back. We just need to take it out and it will still get us the exact same answer. We don't need to do anything else. So, £6.30 is the same as 6.3. When we times it by 10, that will get us 63. And because we times that by 10, we have to times this by 10 as well. So what is 4 times by 10? Well, remember the trick I showed you in episode 3? We add a 0 at the end. That will get us 40. So now we are doing 63 divided by 40. Now when we're doing problems like this, you know what we're going to be using. We're going to be using the bus stop method. So let's just crack on with it. I didn't say get on with it today, didn't I? Wait and see. How many 40s go into 6? Well, 6 is a smaller number, so it will automatically be 0 times. So we carry that 6 across to make it 63. How many 40s go into 63? Well, let's see. 40. 80. 80 is too high, so we only count the once it went through. And there's a remainder of 23. Now, because there's a remainder, but there's no numbers carrying on, we have to put a decimal here, and we carry on with some zeros. Because now we're going to find, now we know our answer will have a decimal. So we put a remainder of 23 above this 0, and we now carry on. How many 40s go into 230? Let's do it. 40, 80, 120, 160, 200, 240. Wow, that's way too high. So we know it goes in 5 times with a remainder of 30, because 200 was the low, it was the closest, and it needed 30 more to reach that. So now, how many 40s go into 300? Let's see. 40, 80, 120, 160, 200, 240, 280, 320. Wow. So now we know it goes in 7 times with a remainder of 20. So now how many 40s go into 200? By now you might have noticed something. The 40 times table is just the 4 times table, but with a 0 at the end. So if you're not sure how many 40s go into 200, try how many 4s go into 20. You'll get the same answer. So let's try it. 40, 80, 120, 160, 200, 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. Exactly the same. So it goes in 5 times. Is there a remainder? No, there isn't. So it's 1.575. And that's all we have to do. Or is there? Remember, we're looking for the price of 1 book. Now, we might have figured out that overall bit. But when you look at price, have you ever seen a price where it's over 3 decimal places? No. All prices are to 2 decimal places. So what do you think we're going to have to do? We're going to have to round it. So, remember the trick for rounding? We go to for pricing, we look at our second decimal place, which is 7. And then we look at the number that's to the left of it. Is that number bigger or smaller than 5? If it's bigger than or the same as 5, we are going to be rounding up. It is bigger, so we're going to be rounding up. So we round that 7 up to the next highest number, which in this case is an 8. We keep those two the same. So the actual price for one book is £1.58. So fantastic. We have now figured out the price of one book. So if the price of one book is £1.58, how are we going to figure out the price for 7 books? Well, we're just going to times the price of one book by 7. Now, remember the trick I taught you yesterday? How do we remove our decimal? Well, we have to times it by 10 and then times it again because we're moving it 2 spaces that way. If we're timesing it by 10 and then timesing it again, do you know what that's the same as? Timesing by 100. So now we've gotten rid of our decimal. So now we're doing 158 times 7. Now we choose our trick for this. We could either do the column method or the box method. Now for this, I'm going to do the one I personally prefer, which is the box method. So remember, you have to line it up. So it's 3 because there's 3 digits in 158 and 2 because there's 2 digits in 7. And you have to divide each of the squares so it becomes 2 little triangles in each because you'll be writing them as 2-digit answers. So, what's 8 times 0? Well, it's 0, so you write it like that. What's 8 times 7? Look at your times tables. That will be 56. 5 times 0 is just 0. 5 times 7, times tables again, 35. 1 times 0 is 0. And 1 times 7 is 7. Now we expand our little segments and we add what's in each of them. So there's just 6 in here. 5 and 5 is 10, so we put the 0 here and we carry that 1 from the round across. 7 and 3 is also 10. We've also got the 1 from the previous, so it's 11 and we carry that 1 across. 0 with 0 with 0 is 0. Add that 1 is 1. And then we got our 0 here. So, 158 times 7 is 1,106. So we've worked out 158 times by 7, but now we need to put our decimal back. If we times by 100 in the problem at the start to get rid of the decimal, to put it back we're going to be dividing by 100. So when we divide, we move our decimal here and here again. So it becomes 1.58, the original problem. And because we divided it by 100 in the problem, we're going to be dividing it by 100 in the solution. So we move our decimal once and twice, so it moves from there to there. And remember, all pricing is done to 2 decimal places. This is the second decimal place, so we get rid of all that. So, the price of 7 books is £11.06. Tricky challenge, I know, but that is probably one of the hardest questions you will get. So if you can get this, you can do any of them. So today we're going to be doing fractions, what fractions are, how on earth we do them, and also how to simplify them. We'll get to simplifying in just a minute. Now, a great way to get started on fractions, what on earth they are, is I'll give you this example. I have on my whiteboard 8 coloured magnets, from blue to green to yellow. So I have 8 of them. What fraction of those magnets are red? Think about it. If we have 8 magnets in total, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, we now need to count how many of them are actually red. 1. There's only 1 red magnet. But we don't write it like that. What it means is, out of 8 magnets, 1 of them is red. And that's how we write a fraction. Out of 8 magnets, 1 of them is red. What about this kind of question? Out of these magnets, how many of them are blue? Well, there's still 8 magnets. How many blue ones are there? There's only 1 blue magnet. So we say it is out of 8 magnets, 1 of them is blue. What about this one? Out of these magnets, how many of them are black? Now, I can already tell you the answer will be slightly different. So, we still have our 8 magnets. How many of them are black? We have 1, 2 black magnets. So, out of 8 magnets, 2 of them are black. But now we're going to simplify that. And all I do to simplify is I ask you a question. What do these 2 numbers have in common? So this is the numerator, top number. This is the denominator, the bottom number. What do they have in common? The answer is they're both even numbers. They're both in the 2 times table. So we're going to find out how much in the 2 times table these are. So let's look at the first one. So 2. Let's go through our 2 times table. 1. Oh, it just stops there. So we write a 1 at the top. Now look at our 8. How many times in the 2 times table does that go in? 2, 4, 6, 8. 4 times. Can these change any more? No. So we leave it like that. So for every 4 magnets, there is 1 black magnet. So the actual fraction we could do when it's simplified is 1 over 4. Out of every 4 magnets, there's only 1 black one. So enough about magnets. Let me tell you another fact about myself. I love to travel. One of my all-time favourite things I like to do is travel all across the world. I want to visit every country in Europe. I love travelling. Annoying I can't really travel at the moment, but hopefully in the future I can. One of my all-time favourite countries to go to is Sweden. Sweden's about 2 hours flight away. It's kind of near Denmark, Germany. It's a beautiful country. I was actually in Sweden 3 weeks ago. I was in the capital, Stockholm, and I got this t-shirt while I was there. Now, on this t-shirt, there are 40 different pictures on there. There's loads of different mooses. They also have the letters that spell out Sweden. S-W-E-D-E-N. And how many letters is that? There's 6 letters. What fraction of the images on my shirt are letters? So, we need to write this as a fraction. So, out of 40 images, 6 are letters. So now we've written it as a fraction. Absolutely fantastic. The next question I ask you is, can this be simplified? Or do these 2 numbers have anything in common? Well, they're both in the 2 times table, so we're going to go with that. How many 2's go into 6? Well, let's go through it. 2, 4, 6, only 3 times. What about 40? How many 2's go into 40? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30, 32, 34, 36, 38, 40. It goes in 20 times. Now, it did take a while. You probably would be able to do it much quicker at home, but I just wanted to go through it to make sure I was doing it right. So, the actual fraction if we were to choose 20 random images on my shirt, 3 of them would be letters. And that is the simplified version of that. The final type of fractions that we're going to look at today are these. These are known as improper fractions. And that means when the numerator, the top number, is bigger than the denominator, the bottom number. I want to get rid of that. I want to make it a bit neater. I don't really like improper fractions. So here's how we do it. We look at our denominator, the bottom number, and we see how many times it goes into our numerator, the top number. So 4 is our denominator, bottom number. How many times does it go into 7, our numerator, the top number? Well, let's do our 4 times table. 4, 8. Well, we stopped there because 8 is too high, so it only goes in once. So the next question is, what was the remainder? Well, if 7 was where we were going up to and 4 was the furthest we got, there is a remainder of 3. And then all we have to do is put that over our 4. It's still a fraction because it doesn't quite reach a whole number, but that is the same as 1 and 3 over 4. So here is your challenge for today. I love travelling so much that in my room I have a pyramid of all the flags of countries I've been to. Let me show you it now. Now you're going to be doing a bit of counting for this because I want you to find for me what fraction of those flags has the colour green in them, what fraction of those flags has the colour blue in them, and what fraction of the flags has the colour red in them. So, out of those flags, which fraction has green, which fraction has blue, and which fraction has red? Don't forget to subscribe to this channel and share this video to anyone you know, and comment below for any topics you want me to cover in future videos. We'll be doing fractions for the next couple of days, so it's important that you understand this before we go any further. So please practice your fractions, try and work out this challenge before you watch any of my future videos, and good luck, and keep our children learning. Thank you.